What's up, Super Nation? It's your boy Ben, coming to you live from the Superhero Circle Show. And today I got my man Eli. Also got my man Semi.
How's it going, Super Nation?
And we are coming to you live from the Superhero Circle Show today. And so happy that you guys tuned in. And today we're just going to talk about my favorite comics and movies and just, Simi, so what brought you here today? I mean, what brought you to the Superhero Circle Show? What brought you into comics, man?
Okay. I was about to say, if you said it was brought me into the show, it was my car. But into comics, yeah. It was just a way of getting away from reality and everything because, when you read a comic book, you kind of identify with the character. So I identify with like several different characters in my lifetime. And, like I said, it was kind of escape from reality. So it was a really good, time. So.
Okay. Eli, how about you, man? What got you into comics?
What got me into comics was the 1990s animated show X-Men. And from there, I didn't know there was such thing as comic books. And whenever I went to the gas station, I saw X-Men comics and Wolverine comics, Hulk comics. It just drew me there to that gas station to read almost every chance I got.
Cool. I know I got my first one was the Hulk. I was just blown by the Hulk, how powerful he was and how unstoppable he was. And yeah, I that really took me and I just ran with it. So it's basically it's pretty cool that you can like open up a book and just fall into it, just get into it and then can't wait till the next chapter to come through, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what about who's your favorite character?
I don't have a favorite. I have like favorites. The one that really caught my attention the first time was Wolverine. But after Wolverine, it was Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And then after Silver Surfer was Ghost Rider. Those
Rider,
three.
yeah.
Out of those three, I think Wolverine gets the more billing, but I really believe that Silver Surfer and Ghost Rider does not get enough billing as they need to because, Ghost Rider is just cool. Anybody whose head can catch on fire and they ride a motorcycle is just pretty cool in general. But Silver Surfer can travel through space and time. He doesn't need to eat, doesn't need to sleep, doesn't grow old. It's like infinity. And he just travels the galaxy, in universes several times over. So those three are my favorite, but the other two don't get as much props as Wolverine does.
I know Wolverine, they blow Wolverine up. True. I mean, true that. I mean, it's like, I like Wolverine, but I think, like you said, it's like they put him on a pedestal. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, he's cool. He's got claws. He's indestructible. But you got so many other characters out there the same, just as better than him.
But I think the reason why they're not putting Silver Surfer and Ghost Rider up there with Wolverine because of the movies too, though. Like, that's kind of didn't do justice for those characters.
Well, growing up, reading those books, Wolverine's was always more popular than Ghost Rider and Silver Surfer.
Now I got to disagree with you there because I had a buttload of Ghost Rider comics.
Yeah, you had a buttload of comic books, but other people, when I talk to Ghost Rider about them, I talk to them about Ghost Rider, they go, well, I don't really know that much about that character.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, well, you should because he's a really cool character. I mean, not just the chain and the motorcycle, but, he has eternal life given to him by, the Dark One. So
yeah, I didn't know Ghost Rider until what was it, Capcom versus Marvel whenever they had him on there. Yeah. And then that's where I found out who was that? Blackheart.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know those two was in it too, but I think my favorite character, I don't know, I think it had to be Batman.
Really?
And to prove my point, I don't know which one.
Really?
It has to be
everybody
Batman.
and grandma love Batman.
But to show, to show that Batman is legit though. Yeah. I mean, I should talk like that for the rest of the time. No, so this is how I feel. Like to show that he was legit, man. Just in case everybody went rogue. Dude managed to get everybody's weakness and keep it in his database. Just in case anything, he even got his own weakness too. He set that up like, if I go rogue, this is what y'all need to do.
Right.
That's genius. And the fact that he can keep up with everybody. He's
okay, there's my problem.
What's that?
That he can keep up with everybody. This is a mere mortal.
Right, but
and he dodged Darkseid laser beam the thing can like cut around corners, and he outruns it.
But here's the deal: Batman he outthinks the other superheroes because they rely on their.
I get
powers.
that. No, I
So
get that. He has to be smart. He has to be
He
a
has
step
to
above. He's got to
right.
be. Yeah, I get that. But
What?
Dark Side laser beam.
If he can dodge Superman punches,
Wait a minute.
If he can dodge Superman punches, why can't he dodge his laser beams?
That's another thing. Dodging Superman punches. Don't you think that's a bit of a stretch?
He made his body.
This dude can run the speed of light.
Now, okay, now what?
And Batman dodging his punches?
About the movie, or are we talking about the comic now?
No, I'm
Because
talking about no. I mean,
overall.
yeah. Okay.
Overall,
Look,
Batman is
I give Batman his props. Okay, he's one of the most famous characters. Everybody can agree with him. I don't know why, because we're not all millionaires and we didn't all lose our parents, but for some strange reason, everybody feels like they can relate to Batman. Yeah, I lost my parents too. I'm like, but you're not a millionaire, bro. So I don't get that.
Okay, here's the deal. What about? I think Green Lantern don't get enough attention,
And deservedly so.
Or no, because of the way they bring it, the way they present it. I think Green Lantern is one of the backbone of the Justice League.
I feel like they have now, after they saw how powerful the Green Lantern Corps is.
And then-
I mean, I think now he's getting his respect. The people that's not getting the respect that they deserve in that would be Aquaman.
No, that's
Like Aquaman, everybody tease him. Like you saw that advertisement. If Aquaman could get a movie, so can we, the Teen Titans. So I mean, he's getting the respect, but he's still not getting. I mean, he's getting the hey, let's make a movie. Let's put him in here. Let's put him in there. But he's not getting the respect. Like he is pretty powerful though.
Right.
He can hold up against Superman for a certain amount of time before he loses.
well, yeah. We all saw that in comics and in the movie.
I think the reason why people don't give Green Lantern them their respect is because you have to recharge the ring, and when the ring is done, you're done. And if you take out the main power source, you know, all of the lanterns are done. You're flying out through space, and you're like, oh crap, you're dead.
Oh, come on, man! They got
No,
recharge the
but-
ring
but-
anytime. All you
but-
do is like bang, bang.
Yeah, but if you take out the main power source that
Oh,
the
you're talking-
Guardians have,
yeah.
you're done.
that's
So,
not gonna
and I
happen.
think the reason why is because you have to recharge.
But that's why they built that part where Kyle Rayner came about and learned all the lanterns so he
Right.
can become one.
Right.
I mean, to show that, hey, even though people can do this, if you have this ring, it's unbreakable.
Right. So I mean, okay. What about here's a subject I want to talk about. Why do they make the Hulk look weak? Yeah, in the comic books, he wrecks shop. You know what I'm saying? He's unstoppable. He is literally unstoppable. The matter he gets, you cannot. That's why growing up reading the Hulk, and I'm like, that's why he was my favorite character, because growing up reading the Hulk, man, it's like you can't stop him. You just can't. I mean, that's why the Illuminati got him off planet, because he was unstoppable. And
Well,
but the movies make him look soft, and I hate to say this, but the Infinity War against Thanos, come on.
But I think the reason why they did that, the reason why they set that up is because they want to have a story. Because they don't want to bring the comic books, because we already read the comic books. We already know what's going to happen. But that's why they can hey, you don't have to read the comic books to like Marvel movies.
But this is
they're
what
trying to
this
bring
show
people
is
that's
about. This is what this show is about. We're talking to the fan base comic book people who knows the ins and outs of the comic books and still puts up with the movies. Because that's where I am. I know the ins and outs of most comic books, but I still stomach the movies because I'm like, okay, I want to see how they're going to do it.
Right.
Like Iron Man. I think they did a really good job, except the chess piece.
Yeah.
You know, the chess piece, he wasn't stopping shards from getting into his heart. He had a weak heart and he was dying, so he made that chess piece to keep his heart active. You know, so
that's
that was the
what-
one thing that I was like, I really don't care about that part. But, you know, and they could have went several different ways. I get it. They can't put everything in the movie, but at the same time, you should try to stick close to the comic book.
Well, and they tried to with the Iron Spider. Instead of doing it for the Civil War, they did it for the Infinity War.
Sure,
I mean, they tied
yeah.
it in like, hey, he's going to space. He's going to need something stronger
Right.
instead of his regular suit. And since
And
they're
that
not
was good. I
using,
like that. That was-
and since they're not using Stephen Strange to say, okay, I'm going to give you the ability to actually breathe in space, so go. Like, they had to tie it in to show, hey,
Right.
this is what we're going to do. So, I mean, that makes sense, though.
And I get how they tie things to make it fit into a movie, and so basically, yeah, I get it. But a lot of times when you grow up reading comics and then you go to the movie and you're like, what the heck? What just happened?
Yeah. And, speaking of comics, it's funny because, you read a lot of comics and you're trying to, find the ones that pique your interest. And I read one it was a while back when I was a kid. It was Jonah Hex. That was one of my least favorite comics. The guy's a cool guy. I like Jonah Hex. It's just, I didn't like his storyline. I think it was the era that it was in because Jonah Hex was like in the Western days.
Right.
Yeah. And I was just kind of like, I'm not really digging this one.
I kind of like Jonah Hex.
I mean, the movie was like,
I think it was just for Megan Fox to show herself again. Like, to show that she can be a bad girl again after she did it multiple times on others.
disrespect, Megan.
Yeah,
Yeah, disrespect. Yeah,
she's. I mean, she's beautiful, but it was just, hey, I can play a tough girl. Like,
Yeah.
So okay, I remember we talked about Superman and how when Superman first came out, they gave him all the powers. I mean, they gave him everything. It's like so why is he still so soft? I mean, when he comes up against his arch enemy, or like I don't know, you can pick a character and he's having a hard time winning. I mean,
so if all I have to do with Superman is tell him to pick a card and do a magic trick and he'll lose against me. Because that's his weakness, magic, right? So I'm like, how do we do that? My thumb disappeared. Like, I'm like, gotcha. But I mean, I think they.
Okay.
I feel like they had to show some type of weakness with this man because he was like,
Kryptonite is his weakness.
Yeah,
right. I mean, but they also had to show not only kryptonite.
Well, magic can't kill him.
Well, but
like
they hurt him
kryptonite
really
could.
bad though.
Yeah.
I'm talking about straight out physical, just knocked down.
I think
out.
Superman is a Boy Scout. And that's the reason why he doesn't have the Batman mentality because, he knows that he can kill anybody, even another supervillain, if he wanted to. But he's trying to show the world that we can be better. Exactly. So he's trying to show the world, look, even though I have all of these powers, I'm still going to be respectful. I'm still going to be law-abiding. And a lot of people don't like that. And that's why a lot of people agree with Batman because Batman is like, look, I'm gonna step outside the law if I have to get you.
Well, I remember back in the day, in the before it was called Batman, it was called Detective.
Mm-hmm.
And he when he had his outfit on, he used to have guns, and he would be like, he was kill his foes. You know what I'm saying? I guess DC cleaned him up and made him more of a superhero outlook because he uses like his utility belt. You know what I'm saying? And fights the Joker and all his enemies. But back in the day, he used to like have guns, and I was like, wow. And when I go back and refer to that, I was like, wow, he used to kill his enemies. Mm-hmm. And I think they need to go back to doing it. No,
well, they did that with Batman versus Superman. He was like killing everybody and their mama on that part. That was like the best part of that movie.
Oh,
of them fighting.
when he's rescuing his
mom,
mom.
And he was just breaking everybody's neck. He looked like Steven Seagal running in there. Yeah. He was just killing everybody, man. Nobody had a chance. I was just like, oh, Batman kills again. Yeah. Well, that's good to see.
Well, that was the only bright spot of that movie, I thought, was that fight scene with Batman because that's how he fights in the comic book. Plus, that's how he fights in video games. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every Batman video game that came out, he's using multiple tactics to take down his foes and everything. And it was refreshing. Even though I do not like Ben Affleck as Batman, it was refreshing to see that fight scene. I was sitting there thinking, oh, okay. There is a bright spot in this movie, So, I mean, I thought Henry Cavill plays an excellent Superman. I wish the storyline was a little bit better. Had they had Superman and Batman going against one another, not because of the mother, just Superman saying, look, you're a vigilante, you're outside the law, stop, or I will stop you, and Batman goes, bring it on. Right. Then they hook up. Right. That would have been a better outcome than what they had in the movie.
sometimes I feel like when I go see the movies and they take a story from another story and they start putting it together like an ugly sandwich, and I'm like, what the heck am I watching? You know, it's
That's kind of like with Marvel versus DC whenever they put them all together. Like that was like my least in. Like I didn't really like how they put everybody together on that part, where all the villains mixed into one, like certain ones mixed into one. Like you got the Joker and Sabretooth, and like you had what?
Well, that was a what if.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I was just like, that could have been a what if you didn't even think about it.
They do it. I wish the producer and the director would just leave well enough alone and just go with what they need to go with and see how it works. And I guarantee you that it will work, because this is kind of off subject, but when I went to go watch the Ghost in the Shell, it was like I was watching the actual Ghost in the Shell cartoon in the theater. And I was just like, finally, somebody gets it. The only problem is I've seen that over and over again, so I knew what was going to happen. So it was almost like I'm watching a cartoon on a big screen, but I was happy that they stayed true to form.
Bro, I'm about tired of X-Men.
But I mean, but you gotta look at it like this though. When they brought the X-Men out, that was like what, around late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. The first X-Men, like that was after Marvel sold their rights to the X-Men.
Right.
And that's when they started making these movies after movies after movie. I mean, these X-Men movies where we were just like, what in the world is this? When Iron Man came out, when the Hulk came out with Edward Norton, when those two came out, people started looking like, oh man, did you see that? Did you see that? X-Men was like, hey, wait, look at us. First class. And like, First Class was okay, but still, the Avengers popped off. You got Guardians of the Galaxy. You got Captain America. I mean, they start doing it because they caught on to it. They're like, look, we can do it this way. X-Men was still trying to say, no, we're going to do it this way to make it more realistic. And it was just trash.
Not to get off point, but there are like 12, 15 installments. There are 15 different sagas of the Star Wars that actually follows the line. That adds a whole nother ball of wax that we can get into, but we're not. So, but all I'm saying is that when Disney took over Star Wars, they didn't do too well. So I'm not holding my breath because they're taking over Marvel. So I'm like, that's gonna be. And there has never been an X-Men movie that they put out has been good.
I dare them to make. I dare them to make.
And then they made Galactus into like an actual eating, like, looked like a
Now,
meteor
that
or
was
something like that.
disappointing.
But they said if you can look closely, whenever Silver Surfer flies in, you can see the face almost of Galactus. I actually looked at that to see it. I was just like, but that was barely anything. Like if you look, I was just like, that's a bunch of crap. Like
I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, I was just like, I've never seen Galactus take on a gelatinous form in that movie. So I've never seen him take on that kind of. He's always been a massive, I would say, human being, but thing. So yeah, that movie sucked bones, man. I'm sorry.
I think the Fantastic Four itself. Now,
Even the original, even the remake was kind of pathetic with Michael B. Jordan and the other guy. I didn't even take time to learn their names. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes.
Well, I don't think they put. I don't know when they create these storylines for the comic book or for the movie. It's basically I don't think they put enough emphasis on the character, the person who's playing it. I don't think they put enough time to build a good storyline. I don't think they put enough time into. Now we can put special effects all day long in it, but if you don't have a good storyline and the person to play that character,
James Cameron.
if you don't have a good storyline, if it's got to mesh, it's got to come together. Okay, like case in point, Thor. When Thor first came out, it was perfect.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
What?
It was a love story, man. It was a love story.
And the last I saw in the comic books, Thor's father never casted him out of.
True.
He
true.
never casted him
I
out.
look past some of those points.
But see,
because-
okay, that's why I said my stance is I can't look past that because I grew up on this stuff. And this is relating back to my childhood. When people say, if you hear a song, what kind of nostalgia do you get from it? Well, when I see a superhero character, I'm like, oh, I remember that because I was reading that when this was going on. It takes me back to my childhood, and they're ruining it.
And I think
And that's why I just stomach through it because I'm just like, well,
I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, when Thor in the comic books, when Thor wanted to transport himself, all he did was just swing his hammer, and he was out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now we have the. I understand what you're saying because now you got the gate portal,
Oh yeah, that portal that they use to go to and fro.
Those butterflies.
Right.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
that was in the comics.
and then it messes up your lawn when you leave. It's a big old burn mark. You're like, hey, who gonna pay for this?
Like, don't come to my house, man. Go to the
I'm like, dude,
desert.
nobody asked you to say today because I gotta pay this freaking lawn bill.
Hey man, what you do to your lawn, man?
You know, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. No disrespect to the actors who played these parts because it's a tough, demanding, grueling job.
Yeah.
I get that. No disrespect to any of the actors. This is all on the directors and the producers. You know, like if you don't have a really good storyline, let's just blow stuff up, Michael Bay. I don't get that.
All right.
But what I'm saying, I'm like, okay, I don't have a good storyline, so let's blow this up. Don't get me wrong. Michael Bay, James Cameron, all of these producers and directors, they've done really good work on other movies. But I think they missed the mark on superhero movies because they flooded with CGI, and then they flooded with explosions and actions, and then the storyline is the last thing that they worry about. The dialogue is the last thing they worry about. And then the people that they pick is the last thing that they worry about because, I mean, there was a coworker of mine showed me a fanfare art of the Jim Krasinski as Dr. Fantastic. I mean, Mr. Fantastic. And it was perfect. It was perfect. And then they showed his wife, Emily Blunt, as Miss Fantastic. I didn't know who they had the theme because he still looked like a rock. And then I can't remember who the Human Torch. The comedy guy, the one who played on Bad Grandpa. The one who played on
Johnny Knoxville?
No, the one that played on
No, I'm sorry.
Sororities. I mean,
You talking? I thought you were talking about bad. You're talking about the High School Musical dude.
yeah, he was a Human Torch. And I was like, oh my God! I was like, that's it right there. You know, and and if the producers and the directors would just listen to the fans. Because you're going to get some wild suggestions,
Right.
And you're going to get some suggestions where they're going to be like, we don't have that budget for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because believe it or not, they still have a budget. They still have to adhere to. But take some thought in. Take some ideas in because the fans are fans for a reason.
Right. Exactly.
And if you don't listen to them, then you're not really putting it out for them.
So when you grow up reading all these comics and then they finally hit the theater, you're kind of like disappointed because you're like they're meshing so much together,
Right.
and you're like, whoa, okay, that's not what I read. And you're not if you're not keeping true to the comics, then why even put it on? Superman. I go back to Superman. Superman. Every time they remake Superman, it's always they never change his story. Little kid, his daddy fly him to Earth. He grows up big and strong, got superpowers. Lois Lane is there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How come you why can't you just keep it simple? Just keep it simple.
Well, you have the blueprint. It's called a comic book.
Exactly. And then you're like, no, let's make him a cross dresser. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Let's make it.
But honestly, like, it reminded me of whenever all my homeboys and different ones called me up whenever Black Panther died on the Infinity War. Everybody was hurt. Man, they made Black Panther, they made this movie, he died. I'm like, but he died in the comics.
Right,
That's something that okay, yeah, that happened in the comics. It made more believable. It was more believable that way. But I think they should have made it, if the Hulk was going to go after Thanos, they should have had it where because he had the Power Stone, he couldn't beat Thanos. Instead of Thanos taking a few blows and he just picked him up and body slammed him, beat him a few times. It was just like a.
See, man, that's why.
And then he became afraid of fighting now, I was just like, that should have been.
I hate that part
Yeah, because I'm not going to even speak on that.
because number one, this is how they should have did it. Okay, now while he was fighting Thanos, old boy who gathered up his power and sent him to Earth he should have did that while he was fighting. I'll believe that more than the Hulk just sitting there throwing a couple of punches, boom, boom, and his lackey's like, no, let him have his fun, and all of a sudden, he just hit him in the throat, and the Hulk, I'm like, come on.
I will say this, and this is all I will say about it.
Okay.
In the comic book, Thanos respected the Hulk, and he knew that the Hulk couldn't beat him, but he never really tried to go after the Hulk because he wasn't quite sure that he could beat the Hulk. So Thanos respected the Hulk in that aspect and never really fought him. And that just coincides with what I say. You take it, you do your own thing with it, and you mess it up, just like the Civil War. The Infinity War had so many people in there.
Yeah.
The Civil War had so many different people in there.
They will never be able to shoot that movie.
But that's what I'm saying. That could have been the end all of end alls, the Civil War.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go a little further, you could have done the Civil War, waited like 4 or 5 years, then started the run to the Infinity Wars because you had so many different characters in there.
I mean, you know how many people, you know how much money that movie would cost to make?
Well, I get that, but you can do it. You can do it.
I mean, you have to cut it up. That's what they do. They cut up these movies and then have one big one, just like the Infinity War.
I think, but I see what you're saying because they didn't have as many people on the Infinity War like they should have compared to what they did with the Civil War. The Civil War, it was almost every Marvel character you can think of was in there fighting each other. And there were so many side stories behind why this character is here, why that character is here, where you just had to look into you had to go read this part to get to the Civil War. Like, oh, that's why they got to the Civil War. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, all in all, I feel like that was still a good Captain America movie. Like,
I love Captain America. I love Chris Evans' Captain America.
Yeah, Chris,
he did a good job.
I mean,
He did a good job. Yeah.
sad to hear him go, but,
Hey. We didn't want to be typecasted. This is just my personal opinion.
I'm sorry,
I
I'm
don't
still
know,
going to see
but
his
he
Captain
is.
America.
yeah, still,
Sorry.
if I ever meet him in person, I'm like, hey, Cap!
I know.
Yeah.
I'm Chris. I'm sorry, Cap, but
Chris, you're going to hate that, but man, I'm sorry. You did too good of a job, man. Sorry.
I'm telling you.
Sorry.
I'm telling you. I mean, he also did a good job as a Human Torch, too, though, when he was younger.
Yeah, when he was younger.
I feel like when he was younger, but I mean, he started maturing, so he wanted a more mature role, not a hothead role.
I just didn't like the way that movie was shot.
So as far as
The storyline.
Marvel movies, as far as Marvel movies, I would say that the Black Panther, and people are not gonna like this, but it was subpar. Yeah, no, I mean the character, the storyline, everything was there, but I believe that movie was subpar.
I thought it was off the chain. As a Black Panther fan, I thought it was 2 thumbs up. Way up. I thought it was great.
Now you guys got to realize where I'm coming from. They didn't follow the comic book to the T, so that's where I'm coming from. That's why I thought it was a subpar movie.
Knowing they don't, Marvel doesn't do that, but for what they did for him, I mean, I'm glad they waited until today to make it because it shows. I think it showed who his kingdom, who he was. Now there are some things I was like, what? I was okay. Oh, all right.
I think
I'll
Wesley
go with
Snipes would have murdered that movie. I'm glad they didn't let him make a Black Panther.
Oh, God, no.
Because he was trying to do it.
Sorry,
That's why he
Wesley,
wound up
man.
doing
It's like,
Blade.
yeah.
And Blade was still
Blade.
like, okay, it was pretty cool.
Oh, Blade
but
One, I love.
yeah, the first one.
Blade.
I love.
Yeah, second and third, I was just
Blade
like, come on, man. But
Yeah, the second and third was very subpar.
As
The
for me-
first Blade was perfect.
yeah, as far as Black Panther for me, I was in the middle. Like, I wasn't disappointed all the way, but I wasn't like, yeah, man, I walked out like, good for you. Good for you. It's Black Panther.
Exactly, yeah.
Good for you. it was one of those things. I didn't feel like how I'm always, hey, Black Panther though, Black Panther. I think he did a better job on the Civil War than he did. Like, I think it was just more of a, okay.
I don't want to get racially with this. I'm not trying to get racially with it, but I think the reason why most people were so pumped about the Black Panther because it was the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man.
Exactly.
That's
For
why everybody was like when he died on Infinity War.
Exactly,
Like,
because
it was
a
like,
Black
man,
Panther.
come on,
yeah.
man. It's like-
Still, he-
Y'all kill the Black Panther off and leave the Scarlet Witch and leave the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like,
No, Scarlet Witch died in Infinity Wars.
no, she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah, yes,
Did she melt away?
Yeah, she melted away.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wait. Okay.
So-
okay. So basically, like I said, man, all I'm saying is this: it's like number one, Marvel is like light years in front of DC. Okay, right? I know they're making subpar movies, but DC is still playing catch up. DC is doing.
I would watch a Marvel movie before I watch a DC movie anytime, except for X-Men.
I would go as far as to watch that piece of garbage Ghost Rider that they put out. Then
I like part one.
Then
Part one was better.
Now this
Yeah.
is me. I like part one way better than part two.
I'm gonna take that back. Wonder Woman was a good movie.
Woo! Yep. Oh, yeah,
Wonder
yeah.
Woman. It was better than other DC movies that they've
My
made.
daughter liked it.
No, I'm just saying. Compared to Batman vs Superman, compared to what they're trying to do with Shazam and Aquaman, like compared to what they're doing, I felt like Wonder Woman was just like it was worth watching. Yeah. I'm not saying it was just like, hey, it can keep up with the Marvel movies. No, for the DC circle and what they're dealing with,
for real,
I think Wonder Woman like did a good job, but it wasn't enough for DC.
Yes,
because Green Lantern was just horrible.
It was bad,
and so they finally got one step ahead in the DC era movies.
Yeah,
like I feel like that was better than any that they've made so far. And then I heard they're trying to bring out a Flash movie.
So I never watched Justice Universe. Was the Lantern in that one?
You talking about
The newest one that just came out. The Green Lantern wasn't in it, was it?
You talking about the movie where they fought Justice League? Yeah, no, they showed the Easter egg. They showed the Easter egg of the Green Lantern Corps fighting back in the day. Whenever everybody came together to go fight Darkseid's son, and they show a Green Lantern Corps person flying and getting hit and stuff like that. So I mean, he wasn't even in there.
That's what I'm saying. Green Lantern is supposed to be one of the Justice League, and it's like
well, that's what makes his movie subpar.
Yeah.
That's what makes his movie
It's
subpar.
definitely sub, man. It's definitely sub.
You said Blade was good. Blade 1 was good.
Blade One was pretty
You
good.
know, and what we said, Green Lantern was subpar.
Yeah, I'm in the middle for Black
if
Panther.
we want to go with subpar movies, I mean, oh my God.
Now here's the deal: when they made Green Lantern, the first one, it was so soft. There was nothing action about it. It looked soft. The storyline was weak. The actors were good, but it's just once again the story was weak.
I'm glad Ryan Reynolds left and did.
Ryan did.
He's a better Deadpool than he is Green Lantern.
Yeah. His personality and his
Super movie. Deadpool.
One and two.
Ryan's a good actor, man.
Yeah.
He's a real good actor. But I mean, Green Lantern's not his role.
No.
This was not.
No,
his
we've
role.
already established.
That was.
I mean, okay, now this is gonna tick a lot of people off, but I thought the Infinity War was in the middle of the road. I wouldn't say it was super. I wouldn't say it was subpar. I would say it was in the middle of the road. I think the reason why most people got excited about the Infinity War is because you threw everybody into it. And when I say everybody, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, you threw everybody in it. And everybody's like, oh, right, they're finally going to get together. And I think that overshadowed the real deal. So I was sitting there watching it. Don't get me wrong, I had a great time watching the movie. We were laughing and joking. But overall, when I stepped out, I was like, it's in the middle of the road. So I wouldn't give it a subpar or a super.
I would say it's in the middle of the road.
So what's your best scene? What is your favorite scene in the
Infinity War.
Infinity War? What's your favorite scene? What that wows you, or that's cool?
Nothing wows me.
I mean, okay. What you like? Okay, cool.
My favorite scene in the Infinity Wars was when Vision and the Scarlet Witch was getting their tail kicked, and Cap comes walking out of the Dark Shadows. I was like, Cap, And my favorite line in that movie was, believe it or not, the Black Widow, when she goes, "We don't want to kill you, but we will."
I think my favorite scene is whenever Black Panther was like, and somebody get that man a cafe. No.
There you go.
So, wait, you can afford it. No, whenever you like get him a shield, I'm like, thank you. He needed his shield back. I mean, it wasn't.
But it wasn't his
Yeah,
shield.
I know. I was just like, where's his shield?
Yeah.
It wasn't okay. Whatever. But then
Iron Man still has it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
true.
real. I thought if they would have made him a shield, the same kind of shield he had, but a darker version. You know, kind of like not the red, white, and blue, but like a gray and black.
Yeah.
With the star in the middle. I think that would have been tight. But then that's just me. But my favorite, I don't know. My favorite scene is when the Hulk went flying across the universe and he slammed into Doctor Strange estate. Boom, and then he's like, Bruce Banner was like, Thanos is coming. He's coming. He's coming. I thought that was pretty tight.
I nod to that because they tied that with Silver Surfer crashing and saying Thanos is coming. After Silver Surfer fought him, he got away and he almost got whooped by Thanos. And he crashed and he was saying Thanos is coming. Thanos is coming. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, good job, Joe.
I really didn't like their comic book either.
You didn't like that comic book?
No.
Man, that's
Silver Surfer was one of my favorite characters. That's why. And I was just like, wait a minute. He should be able to hang toe to toe with Thanos.
I know.
But then you have Adam Warlock, who's beat him on several different occasions by himself.
But see, when you got all these characters who are cosmic and Sentry's beating as well.
Yeah.
They're not born of a nature of the earth or of a womb. They're born like cosmic energy. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, they're not gonna be. You can't beat them easily. They're not gonna be easily beaten. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, when they come to Earth, they should wreck shop here. You know what I'm saying? It's like they should like tear up everything. And like Thanos, Silver Surfer, everybody who's live out of space and come here should be, just like Superman. He came here and he's like, that's what brings me back to the point that, it really, really, really disappointed me with Superman because he is such a wimp. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to fighting villains, it's like I feel like he holds back. That's what I feel like. I mean, but back to what we were talking about.
Another thing, back onto Infinity War, the line that I laughed at that I bring up every time is whenever Thor was trying to get his hammer made. He was like, "You will die." He said, "And if I die," he said, "That's what dying is." That's what dying is. Like, I was just like,
He said, "You will take the full blunt of the star."
The famous funny line to me was when Doctor Strange asked Star-Lord, "Who is your master?" He's like, "What am I supposed to say? Jesus?" That was priceless, bro. I was like, golly.
I still don't like Star-Lord though. Like,
Chris Pratt is freaking awesome.
he's funny, but how
How they tied him into that?
no, how he started freaking out because he couldn't kill Gamora,
I think
and then he like,
that
what
was
happened?
that was the lowest
What
point.
happened?
Hey, you know
That's
what?
Michael
Hey, you know
Jordan.
No, you know what? If you're gonna go that route, you might as well say that about the whole movie because nothing was tied in like it should have
Oh my
been.
gosh.
No, I'm not talking about if I'm not comparing it towards the comic book, I'm just saying how they made him weak, where he was mad that Gamora died.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, well, you knew they couldn't defeat him in the first movie.
Well, he already had like 3 or 4 rings already.
Yeah.
So however.
Yeah, when it was hitting him, I was just like, okay, here we go. Come on, take the glove off,
That was a weak scene because here they are, Spider-Man and Iron Man pulling off the gauntlet, trying to pull off the gauntlet, and then Star-Lord can come over there and start whacking him in the face.
Yeah.
In real life, that would not happen.
Okay, this is a comic book,
That's
so
true.
there's
Back to-
nothing
back to
about
the show.
real about
It's
this.
nothing really.
So,
But that still was a weak point of the movie because here they are, they were trying to, get the gauntlet and they couldn't. So it's like because Star-Lord woke him up. So,
Right.
I mean, so
yeah, I think you guys are putting way too much emphasis on that part. That's just.
you just like the actor, but I mean, you like the actor. You like the
That's all
actor.
it is.
The actor, he's a funny guy. I just
You knew it had to happen that way.
I know. Well, that's
It
just
was.
like how Gamora stood there.
It
and
was
like,
inevitable.
It came all the way over here.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
just like that.
happened.
You,
It's just
you
like,
knew he was gonna
run.
kill her. You knew he was gonna kill her. He was just like, kill the thing you love. I was just like, yeah, she's dead.
I know. He's like, I said to myself, okay, really?
I leaned over to my daughter and said, Gamora's about to die. She goes, what? I was like, she's about to die. And he throws her off the cliff. And then, after that, my daughter was just like, oh my God, who else is dying? I was like, a lot of people.
A lot of people about to die.
But I mean, like I said, I want to lean towards Superb, but like I said, I'm still in the middle of the road on it. So
I think it was super.
for what it's worth, if we take ourselves out from the comic book, not comparing, it was a super movie to sit down and watch. Like that was a pretty good super movie.
As not a comic book fan, it would have been a super movie.
Okay.
But as a comic book fan, I'm in the middle.
I mean, but honestly, then that's what I had to start doing with these movies. I had to start putting myself, okay, if I didn't read this comic, let me watch this. Like with Venom, I had to get myself out of the comic book world to say, okay, let me sit down and watch it.
I
Like
get
Tom
that.
Hardy
I
did a
understand
good
that.
job.
Yeah, he did a good job.
And then like the whole Venom, the whole movie itself, I was like, it was pretty good if I'm not comparing it to the Venom comics.
Well,
Like it was.
Even if people don't know who Venom is, they know that he originated from Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
People who never read the comic, they know that he originated
Well, I
from
think they
Spider-Man.
made this movie to.
So this
to
dude
show
wasn't
who
swinging
Venom
around.
is.
He climbing up buildings and everything, and I'm just like,
Well, the
man.
first time. Well, okay, look at it.
Even when they
Venom
said it was based in San Francisco, I was like, there goes Peter Parker.
Venom was invented
Yeah.
in Spider-Man movie. Okay, part 3 in
Wow.
Spider-Man movie. Okay, but
In the
it was
comic book.
it was a weak introduction to the comic.
But it held true to the comic, though.
Right, it did. True.
It came from space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it got on Peter Parker.
But if they would have put him in New York, they would have to bring Spider-Man in.
And what's wrong with that?
No,
You don't even have to bring Spider-Man. All you have to do, you don't even have to show a cameo. All you have to do is just make mention
right.
of Peter Parker.
But
They,
I get
they
that.
gave an Easter egg and said that he was fired from New York from
Right, that's right.
the
Right.
That
news
isn't-
station.
But the thing still came from space while he was in San Francisco, and it saw him out.
Okay, so let's do a comparison. Which Venom was better, this Venom or Venom from Spider-Man Part 3?
Special effect wise, it was that one. Special effect wise, yes. Comic book wise, Topper Grayson. He did a horrible Venom,
Yeah, he did.
but it was right there though with the comic book. So I mean,
I think actually, in all fairness, I thought the movie focus on Venom was really good because I know it wasn't in New York, and I know it wasn't dealing with
actual
Peter
comic
Parker,
book, yeah.
but the overall was good because now they could have done it in New York and left Spider-Man totally out.
That's when I would have been mad. I'm like, man, so Spider-Man know nothing about this. Like, and then people will start questioning, is this before the Infinity War or after the Infinity War? Because Spider-Man is gone now. And so, I mean, there was a lot. That would have been a lot
That
of.
would have been back in the day. This would have had to happen before the Infinity Wars. But see, here's the problem with that because a lot of times when you have different stories about different characters, there's a timeline. So therefore, when you try to crush all this together, okay, we're gonna leave this one out. Okay, we're gonna leave this one in. Well, did he do that at that point in time? And that's when it becomes confusing. It becomes really confusing then because that's why we had to look at it like you said, take yourself out the comic book mode and just watch it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I did the same thing. I was like, okay, I'm just going to just watch this.
Yeah.
Because if you try to put it in the comic book, it's not going to flow.
And shout out to Eminem. His lyrics went on. I'm like, man, that dude still has it. Like,
Right. Yeah. You put it down. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
yeah.
you did a good job on the Venom song. I liked it.
I mean, the chorus could have been. I mean, the chorus could have been better, but his
I thought it was good.
verses went hard though.
He's holding it
Like
down.
I was just like, that dude still got it. I'm like, man, but I still have to say on this one that would be outside the comic book realm. Venom would be a super movie.
Okay.
Like that's just I know how you feel, but I'm saying. It has to be a super movie. If you take yourself now, if we put ourselves into the comic book and compare it, like, oh man, it's nothing. Of course, it's gonna be a superb. So,
I wanted to see him swinging around. I wanted to see him shooting webs.
and I really wanted to see him fight Peter Parker, though.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it wasn't.
Now,
here.
this
It wasn't-
Venom. My favorite part of that movie is like when he went into the liquor store or into the grocery store again, and old boy came in there getting his
Yeah.
money from old girl
At the very end.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "You said I could eat somebody." And he was,
I
I was like, "Oh man, he's not gonna really eat a miss." I was like, "Are they really gonna show that?" And they did. I'm like,
Yeah, they were
"Okay, yeah,
showing.
okay, cool. I'm glad they did that
Yeah.
because that's what he does."
In another universe, he does. In the Venom Ultimate, he does. But in the original Venom, he's never. In the original Venom, he bit somebody's head off, and then he spit it out.
Right. Okay.
But the Ultimate Venom, yeah, he eats people all the time. So that's why I was just like, okay, so they threw both of those together. So, and look, I get it. People are going to be like, man, this guy needs to let it go.
Well,
Sorry,
here's the-
can't, because there are some people out there who agrees with me,
Yeah.
and they feel the same way that I do.
The
So
only thing I hated was the ending of it, the Easter,
Them fighting Riot.
no, it's like
No, Carnage.
It's like Carnage.
Oh, Carnage. Oh yeah.
That's the only part I was disappointed.
So a coworker of mine pointed this out. The jail where he went to go, that's where Scott Lang was.
Wow.
Ant-Man.
Oh,
I did not catch that.
Yeah. He was just like, you see the prison that he was in? And I go, yeah, Rikers Island. He's like, yeah, you know who was in there, right? I'm like, no. He was like, Scott Lang. I was like, sure was.
I did not catch that.
Yeah. I was like, so, and I was like, so that makes me wonder, are they tying Venom into?
I feel like now since Disney is trying to buy all the characters back or get all the characters back, I feel like sooner or later they're going to start gradually bringing everybody back in to connect to some type of like, oh, okay, here is everyone together now, or here's what's going on.
what
now.
I want, you know what I want to see? I want to see them. I want to see the all of the superheroes. You know, on each, well, not all together, but I want to see all the heroes together. All of them. I mean, all of them. As many as they can cram into one movie. Not the Infinity War, but it's like I want to see them all.
So you want
You want them to make that Marvel versus DC comic book.
That would be awesome.
that's what you would have to. That's the only way you could do that.
Yeah.
That would be awesome because I mean, it's like
Man,
okay. I thought to myself this. I thought to myself, we're on one planet. We're on one planet, and we have all these superheroes on one planet. Okay, supposedly. All right. So why not get them all together?
Who's the god of Marvel? Who's the god of DC?
You have, what's his name? The guy with the green.
Bowler hat on. He's supposed to be like God in the DC universe.
Oh,
DC.
I think he's supposed to be the one or something like that, or. And then you have one in Marvel.
And he
The one
has
above all.
the one
Is
above all.
Marvel.
He had multiple faces.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Spectre.
No, that's God's wrath in
No.
Marvel.
No. There's the guy with the green hood.
That's Spectre.
Yeah,
That's
DC.
God's wrath.
That's
That's DC. That's DC.
See, but that's not the one.
But in the comics though, you got Spectre and
In the Marvel universe, and then
Yeah.
they have another guy in the DC universe that's supposed to be like God, and I cannot remember his name. I'll have to Google it.
yeah, I thought it was Spectre because of DC versus Marvel. It was Spectre and the what you said, the one who above all.
The one above all.
Yeah, those two came together because they saw what was going on. They were trying to figure it out together.
No, they had a contest. That was a contest.
It was a contest. No, it was the two kings, the two brothers were a contest. Spectre and the one above all, they noticed that. And they were trying to stop them from doing what they were doing. They were trying to destroy it all.
so do you think it's even feasible for them to do this?
Man, to be honest, with the budget, I mean, depend on their budget. I doubt they're going to actually, like, put everybody in. They'll have a few folks, like, of course they're going to have, on DC side, I can see them having Batman, Superman, Wonder
The originals.
Woman, yeah, Flash, and then on.
But there's so many characters that they haven't brought forth to the theater, to the
Presence.
screen.
Is it the president?
Present?
Yes, he's the present.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's the one above all
Okay.
in Marvel, and then the presence is in DC. No, Spectre is the form of God's wrath.
Okay. I was.
And then you have the character who fights, well, who the Spectre took over was, I can't remember his name either, but he was a form of God's wrath, and then he went rogue, started doing his own thing. So the presence took the power away from him and gave it to Spectre.
So what would you like to see? I mean, what would you like to see come to screen? What do you want the directors and the writers to bring to the screen? Nothing. We get excited when these movies come out. Then we go see them. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, for real? It's like, can you guys, like you said, Wonder Woman. The thing about, okay, case in point, Wonder Woman. When they brought Wonder Woman to the screen, it's like they actually stuck to her powers, her lineage, her basically everything. and then when they put her in Batman vs Superman, she was going. She was going.
Yeah, she was going in.
Yeah, that's because without her, I think they would have lost.
I felt like I was so mad. That's another thing that made me mad about this movie. And I felt like they just bombed it because they did Doomsday.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
Doomsday came from Zod. And then not to mention Lex Luthor sounded like
I guess I didn't open that door for a reason.
So,
There's a reason I didn't open that door, but you opened it.
It was just, man, I'm sorry. It was just,
we talked about that, but we didn't open that door, and that I was so disgusted with that.
Oh my
because
goodness.
Doom, the death of Superman is on. That's the whole different total story.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the comic book, how dare you squeeze that crap together? It's like you guys should go. Y'all need to go in timeout.
But did you know? Y'all know this. I think we talked about this before. Marvel makes better movies than DC, but DC make better animated movies than Marvel.
That's very true. You're right.
That's
right.
which
When it comes to Batman and Superman, yes, they're anime movies, but Hulk versus Wolverine,
That's one.
that
Hulk versus
was a really good one.
Wolverine.
But you got to realize Marvel don't really focus on the animation movies.
That's true.
I mean, because the one with the Avengers, when the Black Panther had to go and help them when they
part
was
two, yeah, part two.
no,
of
when the
that anime.
aliens came down,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
part two of the
So-
Avengers that they were doing.
Yeah, so that one was good. Hulk versus Wolverine was good. I didn't really care for Hulk versus Thor because I didn't like the way it was drawn.
Right. No, me too.
But as far as animation goes, yeah, DC's got them. But like I said, Marvel really don't focus on animation like that.
well, maybe DC need to focus more on that and just keep it like that, where they keep.
Yeah, because they kill it.
They kill it every time. Like even the death of Superman, whenever they had Doomsday fighting Superman again, that was such an awesome movie to watch. And watching the Justice League trying to help and losing, where they had to wait on Superman. I thought that was awesome.
Well, what was the one where Public Enemy #1?
Yeah, when Batman and Superman was.
Yeah, and it sent them all out.
Yeah.
That one was excellent. And then what about the one where Brainiac came down when Superman's cousin, Supergirl, she was just new on the scene, and Brainiac came through and was using those robots to stick those things. Those are all good.
When it comes down to film, when it comes down to putting it on and put it on film, I think basically it's like they're trying way too hard because when you write a story, either you can go with the script, the comic that's already been made, and then just take it, process it, get the right characters, and make sure tweak the story a little bit, not a lot, and then put it on, then shoot it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, we have the technology now to do anything now. So basically, especially when it comes down to superhero movies, I think what they should do is like ask a third party. You know what I'm saying? Ask someone, hey, what do you think about this? You know, it's like not just like stay up all night and write it and crush the story together.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. You know, ask the fans. The fans will know. I mean, like I said, you can't take everything that they say. You know, because some people are gonna come off with some off the wall stuff, bruh. You know, but you know, you're getting it out there. You're getting the people's voice of what they really want, of what they really want to see, what they really want you to stick to, and don't do your own thing. And that's the problem. Directors and producers, they like to do their own thing. That's why you have that's why we were saying a super or a subpar movie. And you got to realize everybody doesn't have the same taste. What you think is good, I'm going to think sucks. But I think is good, you're going to think sucks. Or else we're going to meet in the middle of the road. But there will never be 100% where everybody's like, oh, we're all good.
Of the comic that they're about to do, so they can say, okay, this is what we're doing, so now let's stick with this, but if we want to branch off and add something into this that they missed, let's do it. Because also some of the comics that they're bringing, they're older. I mean, they're old now.
Yeah.
Like the Infinity War, that's a pretty old comic. I mean, and then with Captain America, like Justice League, bringing those, knowing that they're old, okay, let's update them, let's talk about it, let's look at it, okay, let's add this, let's add that. Now since we're in the 2000s, let's try this. I think they will be, I agree with you, they will be more successful with the movies if they do it this way, instead of just saying, oh, well, we have this producer, he did this, so, and we have this writer, so they're great, let them just do it this way, we set up this concept, because they never stick with anything, because they feel like...
And another point is, if you've never seen it, how do you know what to judge?
Exactly.
So
Especially
if you didn't read the comic books, if you didn't keep up with it, and it came out in a movie, and it stuck true to the comic book form, you got both people that are happy. You got the people who've never seen it, who've never read it, and like, oh, that was a good movie. And then you got the ones with the comic books saying, thank you, they did it right.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, okay. Well, basically, like I said, man, we've had
One thing I want to say, we don't know everything about the comic books. There are going to be some points that we get wrong. There's going to be some origins that we get wrong. There are going to be some villains. There are going to be a lot of stuff that we get wrong because there's just so much to cover in the DC and Marvel universe that you as the fans need to understand that, you know, if we mess something up, you know, don't get offended.
Yeah.
Just let us know, hey, you guys got this one wrong.
Yeah, don't be
you know, because like I said, we're not trying to offend anyone. We're giving our opinions, our views. So if we mess something up, put it in the comment section saying, you know, this was supposed to go here and this was supposed to go here. And, you know, if we can, we'll acknowledge it.
Right, and also tell us what y'all want. Like, what would you wouldn't mind seeing in the movies? Or what should they do in the next coming up, like, ideas or movies that they're doing? Like, just let us know.
Yeah, if you got
below.
if you got a fan-made teaser, send it in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, some of you guys do, like, amazing work. So, yeah.
really great, great discussion on different topics, and hopefully, you know, we'll get back to this. Thank you, Super Nation, for tuning in and checking us out. This is your boy Ben and Semi and Eli. All right.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Don't forget to hit us up on Instagram and on YouTube. This is your boy Ben. Signing off. Peace.